Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Play Mount & Blade with Fire and Sword. I'll be honest, I have no idea where we were. Bastion has taken my life for the past 2 days. I do advise everybody to go out and get that. So, after checking our quest lists, looks like we still have to bring goods to that starting city. We gotta deal with some looters. We have 2 days. It's outside of Leda Castle. I may actually be able to get there from here in 2 days. And we gotta collect a debt. That we have... well, we completed that, so we have plenty of time. I'm actually going to head back towards Leda Castle. We might actually, maybe, kind of, sort of, possibly could be able to get there in time. By the way, people have actually commented that Part 8 of this Let's Play is missing. This is completely and utterly true. Part 8 has kind of disappeared. It's not compressing part of it. And I'm actually trying to decide if I want to get rid of the part that's having trouble or just not upload it entirely. Unfortunately, a couple things happen in Part 8, which are nice to put up. So, I'll decide eventually. The actual part that is not working is actually a battle, which is one of the reasons I wanted to get it up, because we actually have not had many of those. So, we're going to see what happens. So, gonna zoom on up to Leda. It is... and we failed the quest. Darn. And I just got in here too. That did not feel like 2 days. Not much we can do though, so we're just gonna keep going. Failing the quest, by the way, a lot of NPCs have this as a very bad thing. It's every PC who considers honor to be a big deal. Usually merchants, people like those, they're the ones you don't want to fail a quest with. And this guy wants a bounty. Mozira the Kite. I wonder at which point they stop having names to use, really. Let's go take care of this. So remember, one of the things we were still trying to do is we were, and I really don't want to do this at night, so we're just going to get over here. One of the things we were trying to do was to, and there's morning. We were trying to become a mercenary group for one of the lords, for Sweden. Still working on that. Let's see. That's the village elder. So remember, we're looking for a stationary man labeled a nervous stranger. You can usually find them at the edges of the village. Usually if there's a far-flung building of some sort. But in this case, he's just right behind this one. Okay, and remember, these are always the exact same talks. It never changes. One thing to notice and to remember is that when you are using, or when you're in a village town like this, like I am, you have to manually equip your weapons. You actually saw me just now having to do so. Wow, I thought he was dead. And he beat me. That's impressive. You have to manually equip your weapon, which you saw me do. I actually had to do mine, otherwise I was going to get beaten in the face. So, we failed this quest. This is not a good thing. That's 2 failures in a row. I feel like a failure. How much money do I have? We have 15,000 thaler. That is a very respectable amount. We also have no food. Beer does not count as food. Well, it does, but anybody who's tried to subsist on beer knows that it just doesn't go very well. Cabbages, smoked fish, dried meat, we have the money for it. Now I'm going to start actually paying attention to what we have actually in shops. And I do want to point out to you there are quite a number of options. Remember, we are in a fortress right now, not an actual town. So I'm not going to do my shopping here. I'm going to show you guys in a moment. Refill out our mercenary group. And let's go find us a city. I think Skov is a city. But I know that Riga is one, so we're going to head to Riga. And remember that I am no longer bound by that 15-minute requirement. So, we're actually going to make sure that we get some stuff done this time around. Looks like Sweden is still at war with the Polish. Not sure why this guy's running away from me. And since we're going to Dierenburg anyways, we might as well do his request. Let's see. And that's a Polish fight, so we can't help it with that. You may have noticed that there is a slight freeze whenever one of these guys gives me a request. That's actually not due to my recording. That is a minor issue that happens with Mount & Blade. What's happening is that he's not only giving me a quest, I think they're flagging me, it's changing the way the in-game wiki works, and it's also quitting out of the actual confrontation all at the same time, and I think it's a memory issue. So you'll probably end up noticing that. No, it's not going to crash on you. This guy doesn't know me either. Enjoy a letter. For some reason, he was not happy with me. I'm not sure why. Plunge has not delivered taxes. Well, we can go do that. I'm sure you guys remember what happened last time, where I got my face bashed in by a stick. We're going to see if we can fix that by giving me some better armor. Okay, we're in Riga, an official city. We're going to go to the marketplace. First, we're going to start the arms merchant. You can see there are a lot more options here. Not as many as I'd like. Some cities have more. So, up here at the top, remember, it's most expensive at the top to least expensive at the bottom. So if you're going to end up actually looking for something, if you're looking for the best is usually going to be on top. If you'll look, this is a claymore, two-handed weapon. Two-handed weapons are really good on horseback, because generally you're going to be moving so fast you're not going to take a hit back. And they have very long length. You can actually see on weapon reach up there that 125, that is pretty darn long. So horseback is very good. Not only do you have the gigantic damage from it in the first place, you can see that its swing is 37C. C, if I remember correctly, is, I want to say it's crush damage. P, as you see under thrust, that's pierce. So it's got high damage. Then you have the horseback bonus for speed. Weight, don't worry about it. Almost never does anything. I think that's just movement speed, sort of like encumbrance when you're on foot. We don't really have to care about that. Swing, as I said, is damage from the swing, and thrust from the actual thrusting. If you're on horseback, swing is what you care about. When you're on foot, thrust is what you're going to notice. Speed rating is how fast you can do it. The higher, the better. The higher means faster. You'll notice that specifically when we're going to be doing my guns and finding new weapons for me. Higher speed in those means faster reloads. Weapon reach is how far you can actually swing out. This is important for really horseback for the most part. That way you don't have to be very, very close to your opponent. Keep in mind, though, if you notice, this one has a red requires strength. That means I don't hit the strength requirement. You can't always equip something. You get a bonus damage against shields, means it's going to break them faster. And this one cannot be used on horseback, so you're going to look for weapons that can. One thing I do want to point out, this is a balanced claymore. Every weapon has its own name, and usually they will have added on keywords that do things. Balanced is a keyword that generally means more damage, because you don't have to worry about, falling over when you're using it. But keywords can also, and usually do, affect price. A balanced claymore is going to be more expensive than just a claymore. So if you are working on a budget, you may want to look for things like chipped is one, cracked on bows, things like that. You're going to notice them down here. So a cracked bow is not going to be as good as a regular bow. So you'll see the damage is about a 5-point difference here. But it's going to be pretty significantly cheaper if you look at a 70-point difference here. See, you'll notice two balanced claymores. Strong Tatar bow. Remember the bows versus guns. First of all, bows have the power draw requirement. You must actually invest points into the power draw skill. That's one of the reasons I don't actually do them, because I like to be able to go close range with swords and long range with guns. But bows fire a lot faster, they're a lot more accurate, and their damage is pretty decent, so they're good all around. So it's really a preference between bows and guns. They do fire a lot faster. So you should keep that in mind. Accuracy is also almost never an issue with a bow. They also have a, you can just quick fire them, and the close range is going to work. You can also hold them for a longer sort of accuracy rating. This is a decent gun. It's not the one I wanted, though. When looking at a lot of weapons, in addition to the keywords, so this one is cracked, you're also going to notice that there's actually tiers. The wheel lock carbine is not the one I wanted. I was hoping for the Miquelete one, and I'll show you that when I find one. Also important to note about guns, there's two. There are two types. There's the pistol and the rifle. Pistols are faster, but not as accurate, not as powerful, but the faster is a good deal. That's why you're going to notice when I'm playing, when I'm riding around, you're going to notice me using my pistol a lot more than you're going to notice me using a rifle. I'll use a rifle when I'm on foot, which is going to happen usually during assaults on keeps, things like that. But when you get to pistols and rifles, you also notice with rifles there's two types of rifles. There's the carbine, and the one you don't see that they don't have in stock right now is the musket. Carbines are known for shooting really fast. That's what cavalry were always using. They sacrifice damage for the ability to reload quickly. You may notice when we eventually get there, you can sort of see it on the actual picture itself. They're usually lever action. You'll pull the lever back away from the stock, and that cycles the next bullet in. It cycles the shell out, or in this case, just cycles the bullet in. So that's why we like carbines. Muskets cannot be used on horseback. They're not only too powerful, they produce way too much recoil, but they're also nearly impossible to reload on horseback. The weird thing is, the animation that the game uses is usually what you'd actually do with a musket. Carbines usually funneled the BBs or balls that you fired down a separate funnel that actually got them cycled in when you use the lever. So, kind of weird. You'll also notice we have shields up. Shields are going to be used mostly on foot, but they're going to also be used on horseback when using a saber or a polearm. What the shields let you do is you actually can use one of the buttons. In this case, you're going to be using mouse 2, usually, right mouse click if you're right-handed, and that's going to pull up your shields. You won't be able to attack while using that, but at the very least, you will be able to defend against other people. This is going to be very helpful on mounted combat, because they have a habit, the enemies, to just come right at you, and you'll be able to block their attacks and retaliate. Remember, when you're hit, you have that slight recoil, so if you're hit once, you're likely going to be hit again. A shield lets you stop that, because they'll be recoiling. When you're looking at shields, buying price is definitely important. If you look above buying price, you're going to see that number. That's how much health the shield has. Once that goes down to 0, the shield will break. You'll get another one when you start up another battle, because the second phase of the battle, if you retreat and attack again, because they're going to fix that between battles. Resistance is important because that's how much if you think a standard RPG game, there's attack and defense, and usually defense is subtracted from attack. Resistance is more or less the defense. It's how much damage the shield soaks before it starts doing damage to the shield's hit points. Size is also important. This is something you're going to notice more, I find, against archers than actually against enemy combatants. Mostly because when you're fighting a combatant face to face, you're going to be aimed at him. Whereas archers are going to be slightly different. Size is how much of you it protects. If you're worried about getting hit, the higher the size, the better. On round shields, size is just a flat number. That's just how it is from one side to the other. There's not a normal other shield for me to show you, but we're talking kite shields, big shields. You're going to see like 70 by. That's just assuming it's a rectangular shield, and that's just side to side. So remember, larger is going to be better for defending more, but larger also usually means less hit points, or less resistance, or higher weight. You'll also notice here that we have grenades. Grenades are interesting. They're not my favorite type of weapon. What they do is, that number above the buying price is actually how many you get. They are very powerful. You can just lob this into an army and take out multiple men. They're very useful if you're facing a large army. They are also pretty fast. Below on the bottom, you're going to see shards radius and damage radius. For damage, generally, if you get 2 paces, is exactly what it sounds like. So that's just the radius of how far it hits. Damage usually outright killed them. Shards, on the other hand, you're looking at injury, it's still going to be a lot. The reason I don't like grenades is once you use them, you use them. They are consumable and they are not renewable. So unlike arrows, which you will get more of after the combat is over, unlike bullets, which do the same thing, and throwing axes and the like, grenades do not come back. I understand why they do that, because they're very powerful, but you also notice that they're 1,000 apiece or more. They're also very expensive. Arrows, remember that arrows and firearms, for that matter, are piercing, so they kind of ignore defenses for the most part. Usually what you're going to want to look for arrows are, and bullets for that matter, are not only their damage bonus. So we got +1 for these. You're also going to want to look at how many they have. Usually you can ignore the bag of what type of arrows. That's not usually important. You're looking for either, well, generally looking for a large bag. You'll also notice this is a bonus that arrows have to bullets. Bullets are heavy, so you can't hold as many. So you're going to get to spam a lot more arrows going arrows. Those 31 versus 18. Bullets, however, have the higher damage bonus. Axes usually are best against shields. For some reason, this one can't be used on horseback. And pole arms are not the best thing to use on horseback, I find. If you're going to use a pole arm on a horse, your best one is going to be a lance. They don't have one right now, otherwise I'd show you. And since they don't have any of the weapons I was aiming for, we're going to skip that. Instead, we're going to go to armor and see what they got. Remember, most expensive down to least expensive, which is a shame because I wanted to use a beret as armor. So we got some helmets, we have some boots. We don't really have anything good in terms of body armor, which is a shame. Though I am going to grab that because that's at least decent. Remember, with armor, we have 3 places to cover. We have head, we have body, and we have feet. Helmets are just head for the most part. And I'm going to grab one of these. Feet add to leg armor. And you might notice, I'm trying to find one to show you. So we got old cavalry boots, sturdy infantry boots, and sturdy old cavalry boots. You'll notice a lot of the keywords. The reason I point this out is infantry boots are technically a lower rung than cavalry boots. This is something to notice because the sturdy keyword increases the buying price and the a bonus to leg armor. And old reduces buying price and reduces leg armor. So you should definitely notice the gigantic differences you're seeing here. Thick old cavalry boots is going to reduce, then boost. But it's not really as big a bonus here. I was hoping to show you something a little bit more impressive. But infantry boots should usually cost less than cavalry boots. In this case, I'm going to go for slightly cheaper on the cavalry boots. Let's boost those. Last, I'm going to make sure I get some hand armor. Gloves always give a boost to body armor, because there is no hand armor. And you'll notice that the Cossack Zupon also gives a bonus to leg armor. It's a toss-up. Do you want more body armor, or do you want more leg armor? And you can see down here exactly what I'm looking at, 26, 11, and 12. Head armor is really good against archers. It's headshots. Basically, you get a gigantic bonus to damage against marksmen with head armor. Body armor is the body shots, of course. And leg armor is usually best when you're on horseback, like you almost will invariably be until you start storming castles. That's what you're normally going to hit. You want leg armor to be boosted as possible. And then before I back out, I just want to show you this. This is a slight graphical glitch. You notice the gloves, they're fingerless. When you put on fingerless gloves, any gloves you put on after them look as if they're fingerless. They're not. It's just a graphical glitch. If you exit and then come back in with no gloves on, then you will have fingers once more. So we're done here. Let's pay him 6,000. Horses. Not going to upgrade one right now because there's no point. But when you notice horses, remember you're going to have to worry about riding skill. The higher your riding skill, the faster you move, and the better horses you can use. When it comes to horses, you got armor, speed, maneuver, charge, and hit points. Those are the big stats for horses. Armor, we're not noticing any of the big armored ones yet. You'll notice them later on. But armor is how much the actual horse ignores when it's got hit. You'll notice me, when I'm in combat, I will often aim for the horse. It's cruel, but it means that he's not going to be mounted, and we can take him down faster. Enemies do the exact same thing. So, you're definitely want to see if you can get armor. Speed, exactly how fast they move. I don't know the cutoff, unfortunately, but there is a cutoff where you actually can no longer couch lances. So you want to get speed high if you're going for a lance user. You're also going to want to make sure that your speed is instantly high, because that's how you get away. You can outrun guys. You can catch up to them if need be. Maneuver is how tight you can corner. You know, how much you need to slow down to do a tight corner. If you're going to be jousting with someone, or if you're trying to do what I do a lot when I use melee, which is just keep on circling around and hit them as you pass, you want maneuver to be pretty high. Charge is, you'll notice me doing this too, though not usually on purpose. If you're just going to plow through some guys, you get to do charge damage to each person. Charge minus armor usually is the damage. And then hit points is exactly how long until the horse keels over. Horses also have the keywords. Heavy usually means their armor is higher, but their speed is lower. And then, of course, there's the several tiers. There's the Sumpter horse, which is, I think is the level 0 horse. You'll notice this with weapons as well. There's a level 0, which requires nothing in terms of, you know, riding or power draw or anything like that. But they're not very good at all. Still, you can at least use them. These are horses you can use for all NPCs, which is why I'm going to be snagging a few. Saddle horses are better still, and then you'll start seeing things like Thoroughbred and Desert, things like that. Spirited means he moves faster, so if you want a fast horse, you want a spirited one. Heavy, more armor, more charging. So we don't see too much here. And on second thought, I'm going to go to the armor, and I'm going to at least... trying to consider if I want that cracked wheel-lock musket. Cracked means they're not as accurate, and their damage is usually not as good. By the way, notice that muskets, and you'll notice this also for pistols, they can actually be changed. You can change the weapon mode. This is something you can do with throwing axes, throwing spears. Usually, I think it's the X button, naturally. When you change the mode, it goes from one style to another. This is not common, but doable. Muskets and pistols can be used as melee weapons. Pistols use the one-handed skill, and muskets end up using the polearm. It's not good, and whenever you notice, you'll notice that NPCs do it a lot. It's not smart, even slightly, but it can get you out of a pinch. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to go to the mayor, and if you notice, I owe the mayor a little bit. Remember that beer we never actually sent? I'm going to pay my debt to him, so we're clear of debts. People won't do things with you if you're indebted. We're going to send smoked fish to Vilna. No, sorry, Skov, because they have a better price. Make a little bit of money, because I spent quite a lot of it. And while we're here, we're also going to equip these guys a little bit, get them some better armor. You want to make sure to do this. These guys are eventually going to be some of your best units. You want to make sure that the armor and the weapons they're using are as top of the line as you can get. But if you'll notice, Serban had a much better armor than I have. I still don't have as good as armor as that. But his weapon is actually absolutely horrendous. I'm not going to replace it because, well, I need a melee weapon more than he needs a melee weapon. Let's see. So he at least has some riding skill. Remember, our priest is polearms, so eventually I'm probably going to give him a lance. See, his robe is still better than what I was wearing. Let's give him a hat, too. There's also, this is less a glitch and more just a weird thing. Hats seem to make it so your hair goes away. Watch what happens to Ingrid when I put her hat on. Ingrid, on the other hand, does not have a good armor at all. And now she's wearing a male outfit. So now she looks like a guy. She also had a thrusting sword. But I gave her a firearm, and we shall be good. Okay, let's take this caravan to where it needs to go. So what we're also going to do, it's probably not going to end up happening because, remember, our movement speed is only 4.9, which is a lot slower than most of these bandits are going to be running. But we're also going to look to see if we can find some bandits to kill. So that way, Gan's moving at 5.3, so a lot faster than I can move. But we want to see if we can catch up to them and see if we can get some kills in, because we need to up our reputation. We need to be better, basically. Remember, time does not pass while you're inside a town. So if you need to come in like I am and see who's here, see what we can do, it's a good idea. Sure, we'll head to Zizvev, however you pronounce it, castle. No special missions. And because he got away, we lost some standing with him. Oftentimes you'll notice, I don't think this was actually one of the cases, I think he just had nothing else for us, but oftentimes you'll notice that if you fail a quest, they don't feel like giving you anything more. You can't really chain quests that way. So, definitely want to make sure you get your quests done on time. Though, prioritizing is also kind of important. Cheers! Money! Okay, let's talk to Skov and see what's going on here. Ah! And the best keyword you can possibly get, masterwork, it does not get better than that. Unfortunately, not only are masterwork things very expensive, yes, that is 151,000. This one's also a musket. It's also a musket, but that's a carbine. I just don't have the strength to fire it. That's a shame. I'll have to wait for that. Let's see, we got a two-handed sword, we got more two-handed swords, more claymores. Pole axes are very nice, crush through blocks, so people can't actually block against them, they'll still take some damage, and they got the bonus against shields, and they're, well, some of them are considered pole arms as well as two-handed. Got some bucklers here, rusty claymore, pole axe, large grenades. Shards radius of 7 paces. Damage radius is still only 2. And remember, you can only hold 3. Now, here's a lance. I wish I could show you one of these, but unfortunately, I don't have the strength to equip them. Also, here's another type of shield. You can see the 59 times 69. I really wish I could show you one of these lances, but they require a lot of... I can show you this one. Show you a couched lance and why they're so good. You can actually kind of ignore the thrust damage from them. And we're going to take, you know what, we're going to take this carbine for a while, because I'm tired of using the cracked handmade firearm. Let's see. I noticed that hammers and picks, this counts as a pick, I believe, are pretty good. They have some, they don't really have reach, but they do a good amount of damage, and they're blunt, so you will get prisoners out of them. Okay, we've spent enough money here. Ah, and here's some of the really nice armor, too. More expensive than I actually have, though, which is a shame. But I will get some later on when we're less pressed for money. Get rid of some of this beer. The dress. The village boots. I'll show you a couched lance later on. Ooh, they have furs. Let's go do a fur trade. After checking the tavern, of course. Now, earlier, I don't know if I told you, but the pub guys you see there are pretty interesting. You can actually bet them that you will, or you can actually bet them that you can beat them in a fight. It's not a horrible idea, but you have to actually be good at melee, because the game forces you into a melee fight against multiple enemies, depending. Okay, we're going to sell at Warsaw. It can be a pain. I'm not good at melee at all, for instance, so I'd probably lose. And we don't want that. Let's go make some money. But it's a great way to get a little bit of reputation, because they don't seem to have tournaments in Fire and Sword. And in addition to the reputation boost, you can actually make a little bit of money in the start, too. Now, keep in mind, you can also, if you like, drink with the guys. And drinking is actually not... Whoa. We lost sight of these... Ah, darn it. Drinking is not a bad idea in the slightest. You can actually gain some reputation that way, too. The problem with drinking is that you have to toast someone when you drink. And if you toast the wrong person, you will start a bar fight, and this one you actually won't gain any money for. Definitely want to avoid that. You also want to avoid making the stupid mistake I did, which was do a super weight when not actually locked on to your caravan. I could have lost that thing so easily. And we made about a 2,000 thaler profit. Check the forest. Or fortress. Baron Christopher Bjork. Cheers! Take the money that I had to pay money to get. And he has no work for me. And needs no help. I'm still waiting for one of them to need a mercenary. This is kind of getting ridiculous. I mean, I know that my renown is only 8. But I may have to start doing some more work for mayors. Let's see. And we're still only level 3, too. Ooh. Ah, General Simon Grundlehemfit. I will never get tired of his name. But he needs no help, so we must move on. Now, technically, it is possible, and I have done it, you can actually do a piss off a guy on your own and actually just attack him. So if I was feeling suicidal, I could simply go and attack the Germans, for instance. Attack their guys and piss them off. Keep in mind, they would therefore start attacking me for no particular reason, which is why I am not doing it. Man, nobody needs my help. This is kind of getting, ridiculous. And he wants a caravan escort to Riga. Fine. And they have no guys to send to Riga. Now, the caravan escorts are slightly different. If you'll notice, he's actually following me as opposed to me following him, which is going to make this good because I'm actually going to go to Königsberg and send someone to Riga. One thing to notice about the caravan, though, his speed is much less than mine. This will be even more pronounced when we hit daylight. So, make sure that when you do these... when you actually do these caravan escort missions, that you make sure you're pretty close to him. Let's see. Assault, 178. Could send those to Riga. Ooh, Krakow could make a lot of money on oil. Let's see, what do they actually have a lot of? Let's find out. Good amount of salt. Plenty of linen. I like the side of that. Not quite 15, though. Salt it is. I could make more money if I went elsewhere, but I'm heading to Riga anyways. By the way, whenever you do a merchant quest, he immediately tries to talk to you and make sure that you're the one he's trying to follow. So... ah, boy. These guys are going at 2 different speeds, too. So you'll probably notice him start trying to talk to me in a second here. Wow, he actually has a pretty decent speed. You'll also notice the merchants have something that I don't. My caravan has 2 mercenary horsemen. He has a caravan master, which is a different, decently, decent unit to begin with. And he also has mercenary halberdiers, 9 more than I do. So the merchants are actually equipped to do a little bit of damage themselves, so they're not completely helpless. You still don't want to force them to fight, though. It still amazes me how bad the pathfinding is every so often in this game. Let's speed up time. Don't want to do any more speed than that, because if anything happens during night, we're screwed. And let's finish this up. So let's make some money off of that Riga run. And then we got to get the merchants to, well, at least near Riga. And then you actually have to talk to them. This is the first discussion. You know, you can actually tell them to wait, but you don't want to ever do that. Second discussion, I actually make my money. I gained a little bit of renown, which is good. Allenstein's Castle relations is improved. More importantly, though, I got a ton of experience and I've advanced level 4. So we're going to increase charisma again, increase leadership so we don't have to pay our guys as much, and up our firearms. You'll notice now, actually, let me show that to you again. Charisma. Okay. Notice that firearms, 1 point, 2 points now. So now, you know, they're going between 1.5, 2 points from now on. So you might want to consider doing other things. Like, for instance, I use one-handed weapons too. I might want to consider doing those on my next level up. Don't want to always focus on one. Let's go into Riga, check to see what they're doing. No, we got Lady Anel here. Have I talked to her yet? She needs no champion. And I don't feel like paying her lots and lots of money to do something I don't need her to do. He wants to escort a caravan to Pskov. Sure. Okay, let's see what we can actually... Wrong button. Let's see what we can actually send to Pskov. They have some pottery, but they have a ton of fish still. See what I meant? These guys always have fish. Sure, Pskov has a decent profit there. My question is, why can't I send more than 20 fish? They obviously have more than 20 fish. There's my merchant caravan. Let's approach that while he accompanies me. And there's still some looting going on. But we can't take part in it yet. Which is a shame, right? Let's make our money. And then make some more money. Really? Am I your escort? I would never have known. And we make some money. More renown. Let's see if we can get some more. I should have been doing this from the to begin with. I suck. Sure, we'll take a herd to Vilna, whatever it's called. Marketplace, goods. What does he have? He's got some furs, he's got some dyes, and he has a ton of dried meat. We can make a profit on that. Send a caravan of dried meat to Vilna. So we're actually going to be going in on this blind. I do not normally approve of this. But, You'll notice there is our cattle herd. As I believe I referred to earlier, in Mount and Blade Warband, herding cattle was kind of like moving two magnets around on a table. One would always go away from the other one, but not necessarily in the direction you wanted. Not ideal. You can actually notice how stupid this cattle herd is. Luckily, the cattle herds follow you now, which can be useful if you're doing a gigantic campaign for fighting, and say you want to actually do a siege on a castle, and you intend to actually try to wait them out, you can actually bring a cattle herd with you and slaughter them a little bit at a time. Just keep in mind, beef done that way does not last very long. You'll also notice that that cattle herd is falling behind. It is not as fast as I am by any stretch of the imagination. So now I get to play keep away, basically. I got to keep both of them inside at the same time to make sure I can help whoever I need to, because just about anyone can claim a cattle herd. Priest Spazokukovsky is upset with me because we are starving. The bigger your mercenary company is, the longer stuff does not last. So we'll get some food. Keep in mind, he's not going to be incredibly happy with me right now. You'll notice I had two options when I talked to him. One was basically get over it, and the other was, well, I hope this doesn't happen again. I have no intention of letting it happen again. If you actually intend to have people happy with you, you want to choose the I hope this doesn't happen again. Otherwise... Okay, let me make sure to get some food. Sausages and beef and apples. Also notice this beef, I don't know if I've referred to this before. This beef is not the ideal. We want dried beef. Normal beef, like you see here, takes about 3 days, and then it will actually expire. This is not at all a good thing. See, who do I talk to get my money? Because someone owes me money. Traveler. Hi, Colonel, who I don't know what you want. Maybe it's the Tavern Keeper. Nope. Already went there. Caravan escort to Bakhchisaray. This is a long ways away. So, let's assess local prices and see what needs to go to Bakhchisaray. Oil and grapes. Okay, which one do they have most of? Okay, let's send oil. Why not? At least we'll make some money off of this. Wrong merchant caravan. Maybe, if I do the intelligent thing and check our quests... Yeah, we have to go back and talk to the mayor. And I should probably go to Plunge at some point and collect the taxes. And also have to deliver a message. But I have 24 days to do it, so apparently it wasn't anything particularly important. Okay, well. Bakhchisaray's a long ways away. Let's beat some time. Come on. Deserters, always gotta watch for them. I mean, they can run from you, but every so often they'll actually keep up with you. And remember that the Cossacks, we actually pissed off at one point. Slightly. A couple points difference. But because of that, there will be a slight preference on them to target me. Wow. 11 raiders. Okay, and also, this is also something you need to notice. Because I'm pissed off the Cossacks, my merchant caravan is more likely not to head in that direction. I think we noticed this on one of the previous episodes, too. I think that was one of the reasons why I was down here at Bakhchisaray in the first place. Yeah, those scouts really want my merchant caravan. Something to note, the reason I am not actually chasing after those scouts is because if you initiate a problem with another group, if it is actually an owned group, like the Cossacks, unlike raiders, things like that, if you initiate the unpleasantries, you will lose relationship with them, and I would really rather not have to deal with Cossacks anytime soon. That's if you initiate. If they attack you, then you're not going to lose any relationship. Chances are, though, by the time they attack you, your relationship sucks anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. And here we are at Bakhchisaray. Make some money. And make some more money. Not by much. And we leveled to level 5, and Ingri goes up. We only gained 2 renown, but, well. Character. Charisma. And, tactics. And this I'm going to raise one-handed weapons. Ingri. By the way, as these characters level up, you will notice their wages go up. Remember, it's only one character, so it's not much. On the other hand, light cavalrymen, this is 9 per. So do remember when you're actually checking weekly costs, when you're deciding who you want to keep, when you're talking about, say, changing guys with party members you just rescued, keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, though, that in most cases, not all, but in most cases, it's the more expensive ones that are more useful. And up charisma, I'm also going to up shooting from horseback. As you may remember, shooting from horseback reduces the detriment when you actually do it. You don't have as much of a variation. You don't fall off the saddle. I've still yet to see that actually happen. I want to. It sounds funny. Let's see. We made some money. It's a wheellock carbine, which I don't have the strength to do. I'm going to have to up strength next level up. Maces are blunt weapons. Nothing interesting. I could get some good armor. I'm actually, I'll be honest, I'm tempted. Jack boots are, I believe, above cavalry armor when you talk about feet armor. Let's see. I just hate how it looks. I think I'm gonna wait to go something big like the Cuirass. Let's hold off. We're not fighting anything anyways. I'll get myself back up into Sweden's direction. These guys only have pots, though. Let's go to Perekop. I would do something like Sich. Remember, the Cossack Hetmanat does not like me. Now, one thing I can do, if I feel like spending some money, I can actually go directly to one of the Cossack leaders and actually outright say, I would like to fix my relationship with you guys. Doesn't always work, but it's actually a fortress. Okay, let's go to Kaiser Kaiman. If I remember correctly, that is a town. I know I'm not pronouncing any of these correctly. I couldn't care less. Marketplace. Arms. Aha! There's not a broadsword, it's a katana, and they know it. Got some good weapon reach, too. It's a katana. I have to. Oop, no. Want to keep that. Okay. Now that I'm spending a ton of money, now I need to do some goods. Dried meat or pottery. Oop, wrong button. Also wrong button. Mayor. Trade caravan. Dried meat. Torigo. Why not? Big caravan. Now, if I remember correctly, we also have some money in the bank somewhere, which we will get eventually. Whee! Pathfinding. Some soldiers are ready to upgrade. From 10 experience. This I gotta see. Oh, yeah, a scythe wielder. Oh, crap. Not good. Well, on the plus side, it might give us a battle to do. And I think after we get back to Riga, there they are. After we get back to Riga, we're going to check to see if they have any special missions for us, because our renown is now 14. And our party size limit's now 74. Ah! Battle! Anybody remember that movie, Michael? To battle! Yeah, I only have an 11-to-1 battle advantage. So here is my sexy new rifle. And here's my sexy new sword. This is a katana. We all know it. Okay. Sort of, kind of, a little bit. Doesn't always look like one. Watch how fast this thing reloads. It is not as pronounced as some you'll notice, but it's pretty fast compared to the previous one. Ah, crap. That was my own horse. By the way, something I would like to show you. Bullets are shared between weapons, because remember we're pulling bullets out of a bag, not out of a magazine. And something from the Lost Episode 8, if you press backspace, you get this really nifty overlay. All about all of your orders, how many people you have, and where everybody is in the map. You can even click and tell everybody to go to certain places. All kinds of nifty. Okay. We have one, so we're going to leave. Yes, yes, yes. Bent handmade firearm and a rusty carpenter axe. We don't care. We gained some morale, but remember, because we just had so many more guys that were better trained, we did not get any renown from that. But it was fun while it lasted. Didn't I introduce this thing as like a medieval warfare simulator? We've had so little warfare. Money! We tripled our investment. Let's go to the fortress. I see Lady Annelle and Governor General Magnus de la Garde, who I've never talked to before. Special mission? Nope. Tasks? Sure. Okay, let's go see if we can find someone who actually know before we log off, just in case, because they might change. They might think differently. Let's see. Where do you want me to go? Dubensk Fortress. I thought I just saw it. Apparently not. Let's check with the Rotshire. And he actually likes me. So, I'm going to assume that we're not going to be getting this anytime soon. So, for the time being, we are going to log off and hope we do better next time. So, for the time being, guys, this is Nye signing off.